It started. Takes a while for the picture to appear.
cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Hello. Hello, peoples. Peoples of the interwebs. Citizens of the universe. Friends of Veridora. Welcome. And welcome, Adam. It's good to see you. Good to see you. So, what shall we talk about tonight? Well, I think we're going to talk about Antarctica, aren't we, Adam?
That sounds a good choice.
Yeah, and some of the weird things that go in there. It's part 2 of our visit to Antarctica, right down to the bottom of the earth. So, just have a quick look through. I see we have Shalini in the chat, Julie, Dreadeye. Who else we got? Julie,
Andrew's there as well.
Andrew's
Hi, Andrew.
in there. Andrew, yep, cool. Dun, dun, dun. Looking good. So, got a few viewers. Woohoo! Right, okay. So let's kick off with we'll kick off with that strange one that I found the other night when I was actually drifting off to sleep and I had YouTube on with some. You ever watched any of Greg Braden, Adam?
No, not at all.
He's a friend of Graham Hancock actually, and I mean he does a lot on Gaia. You know that other channel thing.
Yeah.
So he does a lot on Gaia, and he's into the whole kind of not mysticism as such, but I think he's very much like what would you call it? Not new agey, but he's into like there is more to life than you think there is, and you know you there's different, what would you call it? Dimensions and things, and I think he's a firm believer in the kind of, you're here for an experience and you're going to take that somewhere else when you move on. So he's that kind of guy, but he knows Graham Hancock, and he's quite based, although I made him sound a bit airy-fairy, but I think he's quite based because he does a lot based on evidence and things. And he mentioned a group of filmmakers that had disappeared in Antarctica in 2002.
Right.
And he said they were from UCLA. And yes, there does appear to have been a group of filmmakers from UCLA that went to Antarctica. But after that, you can't find anything else out about them. I find it very difficult to find anything. And the only stuff I got was a couple of guys who had done some kind of follow-up on it. And they were saying that, yeah, they had gone missing. And a SEAL team had been sent out. And I'm going to digress slightly here, but here's the thing about Antarctica that I don't understand, because Antarctica is meant to be for peaceful purposes only, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
And it should all be scientific research. There's no exploitation of the resources or anything that's there, It's all scientific research. So why is there so many military people on Antarctica? Because it's like, in some respects, I think it might even be 50-50, and we'll come on to that. But anyway, so apparently a SEAL team went out looking for these guys, and they didn't find them, but they found a construction. I wouldn't say a shack, because apparently it was more substantial than that. But they found a construction in a dry area of the interior. Now when you say things like that, you think of Antarctica as completely covered in ice, and it's not. Antarctica's, I think it is the driest continent in the world. In some places, it's close to zero humidity.
Wow. And
it's basically a desert. And around McMurdo and things like that, they have sand dunes. They have huge sand dunes that are free of ice. And the sand dunes move about 1.5 meters a year, because of the wind, because you get some horrendous winds down there. Because once it starts circling around the bottom of the world in the Southern Ocean, there's nothing to stop it. So, and that's why the Southern Ocean itself is a bit of a trial and tribulation to get across. So
that's really interesting, John.
Yeah, thank you. So they found they're alleged to have found a videotape. So we're now going into like the Blair Witch or something, where they found, a found footage thing. And when they went back to McMurdo and viewed the videotape, they said it was things like it appears that they'd found almost a city under the ice, and they had footage of this, and this was on the videotape. But thereafter, the videotapes disappeared and no one's followed up on it, so it's all been kept quiet. But I mean, Greg Braden did go on to say that the parents of the people that are of the students that went missing are still trying to find out what happened to them, because they can't get anywhere. They're not getting anywhere when they approach the government, and nobody's really helping them to try and find out what happened. So I think they're just supposed to accept that these kids are just written off. They just died, and they're probably frozen somewhere in Antarctica. It's a strange one though, because as you know, nobody really gets to go to Antarctica, because cruise ships only get to go to that little bit near the Ross Ice Shelf, don't they? Or the Weddell Ice Shelf. They only get to go to that little bit. And you can go and see Antarctica, and you can maybe go and stand on a bit there. But that's the only bit you're allowed to go on. The rest of it's off limits. Nobody goes near it. And when people try and go there on their own, like, I can't remember his name, but there was a Norwegian guy who was desperate. He knew it was an all-consuming passion for him. He thought there was something going on in Antarctica, and he was desperate to get down there and find out what was going on. So he got his own boat together, and him and his mates sailed down to Antarctica, and promptly got arrested and sent back to Norway, where they put him in jail. And he gets out of jail after a year or so and does the same thing and gets arrested again and gets sent back to Norway, where they put him back in jail. And it's like, why are they jailing him in Norway when he's committed no real crime other than try and go somewhere,
That's odd, isn't it?
It is odd, isn't it? But then next time he goes, does the same thing, gets a boat together, gets funding and all that, heads down and just disappears this time. Never to be seen again. Gone. Right, so he's just gone. Disappeared. So, did his boat sink? Or, I mean, he'd been there twice already and managed to navigate the Southern Ocean without sinking, but this time, he either never got there, or something happened to him when he got there, or the boat sank on the way back, or whatever. But or maybe he found the entrance to the Hollow Earth and he's chumming it up with our lizard brethren.
He could be down there.
He could be. He maybe thought, hey, it's better down here than it is up there, so I'm just going to stay in the Hollow Earth, I don't know. I mean, we're laughing, but hey, I wouldn't put it past. I mean, let's face it, if you found there was an escape route to a Hollow Earth, whether it was a land of milk and honey, would you come back? Would you?
It depends if it was nice down there.
That's what I mean. If it was a land of milk and honey, would you come back? No.
Well, no. I mean, just looking around Google Maps at Antarctica right now, and there are no Google Maps reviews. There are no photos of any sites. There's one photo of one place, but that's it. So nobody has clearly been there.
Yeah.
Dermont D'Urville Station in Antarctica, that's labelled on here, but there's no photos, no reviews there from anybody that stayed there.
Yeah.
I wonder if Airbnb have any locations in Antarctica.
It's like why all the secrecy? Why all the secrecy?
Yeah.
Really. So and why all the military personnel? And we can move on. Well, we'll move on to the military personnel in a minute. But so in 2019, there was a military flight going to Antarctica from Chile. A Hercules C-130 with 38 people on board. I think around about 20 scientists. The rest were military. So there always seems to be about 50-50 when it comes to scientists and military, So anyway, they're heading out across. They fly out of Chile. They've flown about 700 or 800 kilometers, so they're about halfway there or something like that. And apparently they lost communication with the plane, and that's it. Plane's just disappeared. Can't find it. Can't find the plane. Can't find any wreckage. No trace. Just gone without trace. So what happened to them? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
It's an odd place, isn't it? There aren't many places like Antarctica.
No, there aren't. There aren't. And the Southern Ocean, as I've said, is a very treacherous body of water. But yeah, very interesting. So, and then there's the weird things that happen. Like, I mean, the last time we spoke about Antarctica, we talked about the Russian guy who'd just lost it over a game of chess and killed someone. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, took offence to the guy's move. They had an argument, and he ended up killing him with an ice axe, I think, through the heart.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit extreme. So now chess is banned in the Russian base. You can still have vodka, but you're not allowed to play chess.
I can understand getting frustrated with games, but that's a bit much.
Yeah, it's going a bit far. So I tell you what,
I've actually found some reviews, John.
Good.
Scott's Hut.
Yeah.
There are 381 reviews in Scott's Hut. So let me have a look at those reviews.
Oh, that because they left Scott's Hut pretty much untouched, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Is that not on South Georgia though? Is that not in the Falklands Islands?
No, that does appear to be in Antarctica.
Oh, right, okay.
That's in Ross Archipelago.
Right, okay, yeah. Aye, because there's islands dotted amongst the ice shelf, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
right,
there's lots of rather comedy. I think the reviews are comedy reviews rather than actual reviews.
If you want to read some of them out, feel free to do so. What I'm going to do is I apologise. Chaz has popped in. Hello, Chaz. So, what are you doing there, Chaz? You rascal. Let's get Adam back. Where would he be? You'll have to bear with me, people. Why can't I see Adam?
I'm gone.
Hey, yes. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Is this? There he is. There we are. We've got Adam back. Right. So we're getting there. I know I'm new to this sort of game, so you got to bear with me. I've only been working in IT since 2000. Let me see if we can do a little bit of sharing, can't we? I shall add this. So anyway, do you want to read out some of those reviews while I'm mucking about here?
Well, the first one's a comedy review that says, place was okay at best. Don't want to ruin the fun for anyone, but there are strange things that happen at night. Some of our group got lost and were never found. Luckily, we found an abandoned ship a couple of miles offshore and made it safely back home to Tennessee.
Okay.
And the other one is Gary Pankhurst, who actually looks like he's been there because he's taken 2 photos. This was nearly our furthest south point of our trip. Stunning weather and so privileged to see this historic 1902 hut. We had just been inside Scott's hut at Cape Evans that he built in 1911 because this hut was too cold and he had problems with his ship being trapped by ice here. This hut is actually known as Discovery Hut.
That's cool. Right. Let me chop this down to size so it's not interfering with our viewing pleasure.
What is that, John?
That is the Snow Cruiser.
Wow.
Right, so that's the Antarctic Snow Cruiser that was designed for a trip to the South Pole in the 30s, I believe, right? And they took it to Antarctica, right? Look at it, right? It was gigantic. 37 tons, right? This was America. So it was 37 tons. Now, where is it?
You could mount a plane on the back of it as well.
Oh yeah,
apparently.
they took their own plane with it, right? So, I mean, it is like something Boys Own Land. Oh, this is quite good. This is how it crosses crevasses. This is how it was designed to cross.
That's a neat machine. Look at the tyres on that.
Yeah, 10 feet tall. Oh, are you people not hearing that? I don't think the people are hearing that. But
No.
anyway, that's how it crosses crevasses. So that's quite interesting. So,
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to believe, but this thing was real. And they drove it from Chicago, where it was built, to Boston. This is like getting driven, you know. I mean, this is 1930, 37, 38, something like. Or no, 1939, I think it went. Right. I mean,
Do you want some details, John?
about what?
About its capacity and what the sort of speeds it could get up to and things like that.
Speed was terrible. It could only do like 30 kilometers an hour or something. It was absolutely it caused the world's biggest traffic jam on the approach to Boston. 70,000 cars in a traffic jam behind it. It was supposed to take 8 days to travel from Chicago to Boston, and it took 3 weeks. So
that's amazing.
37 tons. It had 2 big Cummins diesel engines, but the engines didn't power the wheels, right?
Ah, okay.
Each wheel was powered by its own electric motor.
Right.
So, I mean, this is 1937. Tesla's not new, you know?
Yeah.
You know, this is exactly how a Tesla works, apart from the fact it's a battery instead of a diesel generator. But, so each wheel had its own 75 horsepower electric motor, 37 tons.
Wow.
So it works out at 8 horsepower per ton to move it. The thing was going nowhere fast. And you saw the wheels on it. The tires were from swamp buggy racers, right? Because they were robust and would keep it afloat if it got into slushy snow, but they had no tread. So when they got to Antarctica, the thing was going nowhere. They couldn't. When they took it off the boat, well, watch them taking it off the boat. Right, here we go.
It's amazing, isn't it? The technology they could build. So they hadn't really tested that or anything. So once they got it to Antarctica, it couldn't go anywhere. That was that. They managed to do like 100-kilometer circuit round the base by running it in reverse, right? And eventually they parked it up and used it as a stationary office, basically, you know. And because it was supposed to, 5 guys were meant to be able to live in that for a year. It was supposed to drive right the way across Antarctica through the South Pole and everything, but they could never do it. So there you go. What was the problem with it then?
Well, the problem was it was too heavy. It wasn't designed for the terrain it was in, really, and they needed decent tires that they just didn't have. So
you'd think with those big tires it could spread its weight.
Yeah, it could spread its weight, but the problem was the tires were smooth. There was no tread on them, so it was just spinning its wheels. They're just sitting spinning wheels. So they parked it up in the Ross ice shelf near McMurdo Base, and it's either still there or it's fallen into the sea and gone forever. But no matter what happened, it's buried under tons of snow by now. You know, so that was it really was like something out of a Flash Gordon movie, wasn't it? It was quite cool.
That is cool. That's cool that they could build that back then. And, you know, now if we attempt that sort of thing, it's like big news, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just, it's so cool. And then they even doubled up the wheels at the front to see if they could make it go better. And that's when they realised it went better in reverse than it did going forward. So they did this 140-kilometre trip in reverse, which was even slower than going forwards. So, absolutely mental. So there you go.
That's a cool vehicle. I want one.
Yeah. But then the Russians, have you seen the Russian one? Right.
No, I haven't.
Oh, so the Russians come out with these Antarctic cruisers. So these big Antarctic cruisers were used in Antarctica, and they were quite successful, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they look like the ones out of The Thing, aren't they?
Towing a sledge. And
Yeah, yeah.
They were smart.
Yes.
The Russians put tracks on theirs.
That's right.
So, I mean, everything, and it seemed to work pretty well. But so that I think there's still one of them down there.
It's like the American ballpoint pen, isn't it? And compared with the pencil that the Russians took to space.
Yeah, yeah. That's some size, isn't it?
It is. The Kharkov-Chanka.
Yeah. Kharkov-Chanka.
Codename 404S.
Pretty cool, yeah. So
that's a beast, isn't it?
It is a big beast. So they drove a crew of them right across from the Russian base to the American base, which is right on the other side. So, what seems to have gone quiet? What are we talking about?
Is that us or the Russians? Perhaps it's the Russians.
Quiet? It's great for shifting, just stop it. Oh, yeah, it would be, yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. The Soviet big massive tractor. Right. The chat rooms, the trolls are talking about Just Stop Oil. So, right. So, where were we? What were we talking about? Right. So, the next one we want to talk about is the military presence, yeah? And we want to I want to talk about this guy. What's his name? Eric. Where is it? Eric. There, this guy, Eric Hecker.
Eric Hecker from Raytheon.
Yeah. So, right. That's not him. That's him. So this guy.
That's the interviewer, isn't it?
No, that's Eric Hecker. This guy, right?
Yeah.
So this guy with the strangely zipped up top. So this guy was a contractor for Raytheon, who was a plumber, right? Who was a plumber and apparently a fire marshal. But he basically said he had free run of the base, and he got to see all the different things that they were doing and what they were using them for and stuff like that. And one of the things is meant to be a neutrino detector. So they're trying to capture neutrinos as they come through all that ice, and they put detectors in, and when they hit the ice, the ice flashes, so that's when they know that a neutrino has passed by and hit a particle, because neutrinos hit very, very little. They normally just go through everything and don't show up. So this guy said that he discovered that, and then what else did he discover, Adam? He discovered that they could use this strange thing, this neutrino detector, and if they used it inappropriately, it would trigger an earthquake. Now, he's a tad hazy on the actual mechanism as to how it triggers an earthquake, because the interviewer did say, and how does that work? And he goes, well, they used it improperly. Yeah, okay. But I don't know how a neutrino detector, which is a passive device, is going to trigger an earthquake. And then there was the elf, not the one on the shelf, but the extra low frequency, which he said they were using for communication. Now, I know they use things like that for communication with submarines and stuff like that. But you're not supposed to be doing this on Antarctica, because Antarctica is supposed to be science research only, not military. So why are all these Raytheon guys in Antarctica? Is America just completely ignoring the International Convention? Yes, I think they are. But let's face it, there's nothing new there. America do that all the time, don't they?
They do.
Yeah. So there's the elf, the inadvertently triggering earthquakes, plumbing, fire marshal, and then he found out about the thought. What did he call it? The
intrusive thought.
Yes.
Device.
Intrusive thought device, in which he described as, you know how sometimes when you're driving along the road or you're talking to yourself and you go, well, John, what shall we do today? Well, I don't know. Maybe we shall do... Well, I don't really tend to do that much, but he says the intrusive thought device can implant an extra voice in there that sounds like you, but is controlled by someone else. Is that what happens to you, Adam? Do you hear these
All
voices?
the time.
Do you hear these voices?
I do.
And what do they tell you to do?
It's usually do the washing up, mow the lawn.
Your
Things like
wife's
that.
got access to this technology, hasn't she?
She has.
So, but it gets even better. It gets even better than that, right? Because not only is it used for communication with submarines, it's also, and yeah, I think this guy is bonkers, right? But this is quite recent. This is only like a month ago. You know, this guy's apparently a whistleblower, and this is on the back of all this UFO stuff that's coming out. You know, so what he says is they use it. They use, what is it, quantum entanglement for faster than light communication. And you ask yourself, why do we need faster than light communication? Who are we talking to? And that's where he goes down the Gary McKinnon route. Do you remember Gary McKinnon? Scottish autistic guy that hacked the Pentagon way back before, I think it was even made before the movie War Games. In fact, I think War Games might have been part of how he, War Games might have taken part of their inspiration from him. But anyway, so Gary McKinnon hacked the Pentagon and apparently came up with a list of people who were serving in the off-world Navy. Right? Not off-book, but off-world. And he assumed that that meant they were serving in space. And this guy says, so if we've got people serving in space, we need a way of talking to them. So that's why they need to use this quantum entanglement stuff to do faster than light communication. Bullshit. I think this is all bullshit. I am actually quite worried by Americans, right? Because every single American seems to be at heart an actor, right? Every American you meet at heart can put on a facade, has this whole aura of being an actor, right? And they all seem to be that. You never know if they're telling the truth or not. I think they've grown up with so much Hollywood in them.
That's true.
Right? That I think they can't tell the difference.
No, I would agree with that.
You guys never heard the browser there, did you? Why did you not hear the browser? What's going on? It appears the browser is not loaded. Anyway, we'll let it go for this one. Right, so Ben's jealous. He wants your lighting. We've discussed this, Ben, before. It's just a couple of little LED uplighters, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You buy them £12 in. They've actually got them in Home Bargain. I think it's Home Bargains or B&M.
Yeah, I think Ben went to buy them and just failed miserably. I think the difference is, Ben, Adam's got a pure white wall, right? Whereas you're trying to shoot it up something that's got a brick pattern to it, and it's just not going to look the same. You're not going to get the same spread. You're not going to get the same bounce back. So, I think if you want Adam's lighting, you're going to have to change your actual backdrop first. Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. I think was there anything else that Hecker had done, Adam? Anything else?
Just looking through, he's mentioned the Arrow building.
Oh yeah, what was that for?
I think that was where they kept UFOs by the looks of it.
Oh right, that's right. Because in one of he's got pictures of himself there as a plumber, right? In one of the backdrops, there's a UFO hanging from the ceiling with two fake UFO inhabitants hanging out of it. Well, I'm assuming it's fake, but it didn't look very big. Maybe the UFOs are tiny. So yeah, that's Mr. Hecker, whistleblower to the stars. Yeah. It's just a bit. People like this, I just can't. I just can't believe them. You know, people like Greg Braden, I kind of can. Graham Hancock, I kind of can. You know, I kind of understand where they're coming from. They're making good points. They're backing it up with research and evidence of a form. Certainly, just as good as what regular, archaeologists come up with, I would say. And there's no reason to dismiss their theories any quicker than you would dismiss a mainstream theory. So I don't think these people are unbelievable, but this guy is unbelievable. These people that pop up when something becomes like trendy, like the UFO thing, because that was in the news when this guy appeared. That was all over the news, and this guy appears as a whistleblower. Yeah, sure he did. You know, just don't believe it. What do you think, Adam?
He definitely looks like he enjoys his jacket as well. He's keeping that jacket on, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, where are there are pictures of him.
I bet every picture you find of Eric Hacker is in the same jacket.
No, he's not. He's got some really dodgy pictures when he's in Antarctica. Hold on, let's see if we can find them. Oh, and he goes on about. Did we mention the directed energy weapons that he was talking about?
Yeah.
We didn't mention the directed.
We did mention it. Yeah, we did. The direct energy weapons were the earthquake weapons, weren't they?
Oh, I thought the elf thing was the earthquake weapon. I thought the directed energy weapon was completely different. I might be wrong.
I don't think so.
All right,
I think from what I saw on that video,
you were arguing about nonsense, mate. Did you see? Right, so I'm on Twitter earlier on, and there's somebody who's actually all right on Twitter posts this thing. If you know, you know, right? That's what he puts in. There's a TikTok video of Chinese people putting blue stuff on the roof, and I'm like, you're kidding me on. I mean, you're kidding me on. So, of course, I have to reply with the single house that survived in Maui in this big part where every other house get burnt to the ground, right? And this guy's house had a bright red roof, and I'm like, no, you actually want a red roof. You don't want a blue roof. So, if you know, you know. Did you see the video that had been released of the Pentagon, the plane hitting the Pentagon?
Yes. Yeah, it was very low.
Can you see a plane?
I saw something.
I saw something, but
looked like a tube, a white tube.
Yeah. I couldn't see any wings or a tail, but apart from that, this you're telling me that a guy who trained on a twin-engine Cessna, right, flew a 767 at effectively 0 feet across a lawn into a building at ground level and never left a mark, and managed to punch a circular hole in something like 5 or 6 layers of the Pentagon, but managed to leave the wings and engines. Well, I don't know where they went. They must have just disappeared, because they didn't go in the hole, and they weren't in the lawn. So I think it might have been a missile. I think that's...
Yeah, I mean, the video I saw, the explosion was just as the nose cone touched the building.
Yeah, I think it might have even been jiggery pokery, because the quality of it was abysmal.
Yeah.
What's what we got here? No, that's an advert. There was pictures of him in. I should better prepare for these things, shouldn't I, people? I should be more polished. You know? I should spend the whole day rather than just half the day getting ready for these talks.
Ben says he sees the plane in the footage.
Ben sees a plane in the footage, does he?
He does.
At 0 feet, doing 500 knots.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Okay. It's amazing that. You know you can't fly a plane at that speed, at that height. You know why? Because the plane will do 500 knots. The plane will do 500 knots at 35,000 feet, right? But it will not do 500 knots at ground level or sea level because the air is too freaking thick. It would rip the wings off it at that speed. And the engines aren't powerful enough for it to fly at that speed.
So how does a rocket do that then? How does a missile fly at that height?
No, a rocket. What, a missile? Because it's very small and you've got tiny wings. They've hardly got any wing in a missile if you think about it. So a cruise missile, a hypersonic missile, they've just got these wee stubby wings because they don't need a lot of lift. I think what they do is they use the body as a lifting mechanism, you know, like a Formula 1 car in reverse. Right? So the body's keeping you up and they're just using the wee stubby wings for the odd course correction, that's all. But yeah, there's no way, even without, you can't fly a plane along the ground like that. And you're telling me that an inexperienced pirate flew that perfect parabolic curve because it's a lovely curve. You see it comes in and it curves right around and down and straight into no way. Missile used to depict the plane, maybe. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Right, so
Julie also says the bombs were already in situ, which would make sense because of the explosion happening just as the nose cone hits.
Yeah.
And it was a big explosion as well that looked like it had just gone off before the nose cone touched the building. So
pretty sure there was pictures of this guy.
I think Ben believes the MSM on this one.
Sorry?
I think Ben believes the mainstream media on this one.
Really? You can't. Oh, okay. I mean,
well, he's not going to tell us. He's not.
You know,
he's going to sit on the fence.
Believe what you like, but when a pilot turns around and says you can't fly that, you can't do that. And you know, when a pilot, and more than one pilot has turned around and said, you just cannot fly that. It's not flyable. Not on visual flight rules and not without experience. There is no way someone that's had, 10 hours on a Cessna is going to bring a 767 in like that. No way. I mean, that's like me asking you to drive a 38 tonner and park it, in between two lorries with an inch clearance on either side. Could you do it?
No.
Probably not, Crazy. Anyway, right, so what else is happening in Antarctica? A certificate of recognition. This is in recognition for outstanding support and commitment to the safety goals of the Raytheon Polar Service Support Group at the South Pole Station, Antarctica. April the 4th, 2013. What do you think of that? Huh? That's lovely.
Well, it's got a gold seal on it, and it's got the same logo as he had on his coat. So
yeah, he's kept that coat, hasn't he? He's taken that coat and said, "This is my coat. I'm not giving this coat up." You got to wonder about the Yanks as well, because they have a badge for everything, don't they? I mean,
they do.
They have a badge and a medal for everything.
It's funny as well because these whistleblowers are always contractors. I mean, we had one at the army who was a fencing contractor.
Yeah.
And he had a Windows 7 laptop and it got hacked.
By the Chinese?
The Russians and the Chinese went in and did whatever they pleased.
Yeah.
So
why is Ben banging on about 911 when we're talking about Antarctica? So yeah. And remember, of course, people remember that there's always a passport that survives so that they can prove there was a terrorist on board when you're doing the 911 stuff.
That was convenient, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? That was handy. That we found one of the hijackers' passports. It's always convenient as well when the hijackers turn up 5 years later in other places and say, actually, I wasn't on that plane. They don't tell you much about that, do they? Yeah, this guy had some really dodgy photos, but I can't find them, so I'm not going to bore you anymore with that. So yeah, so what the hell is going on in Antarctica, and why can't we go there? You know, why are we restricted? Why? You tell me.
There was a mission, wasn't there, to Antarctica during the Second World War? I'm sure you've talked about this before.
Oh yeah, Operation High Jump. Well, after the Second World War. Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump. Well, that was a cracking one because we covered that in the rabbit hole. That was Admiral Byrd took down a military expedition with quite a large number of Navy ships, including planes and everything. They were set to go there for a year, and I think they came back after something like 3 months. There were numerous different reports, but the weirdest thing was the Admiral and his co-pilot went for a flight in one of the planes, and they disappeared for something like 9 hours, right? But they only had 6 hours worth of fuel. Okay? But they came back. So they flew out and flew back, but they only had 6 hours worth of fuel, but they were away for 9.
Maybe they refueled in New Schwabenland.
No, they said they landed and were taken for a tour by the inhabitants of a warm land where they had hot springs and everything there. So there was vegetation. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's a bit strange. And this guy was well respected as an explorer and as a military admiral, you know. So it's just a bit weird. Just a bit weird.
It is. Have you heard about New Schwabenland?
Yeah. So here's the one. The Germans are supposed to have a base there because the Germans did go to Antarctica because Hitler was he really loved the supernatural shit, right? Because you know where the swastika and the black sun and all that come from. These were all well respected and well used symbols of good, not evil, but of good. And Hitler adopted them because he thought that they would give him special powers when it came to fighting and things like that. You know, because he obviously believed he was fighting on the side of good. And let's face it, most people when they're fighting think they're on the side of good. It's very rarely when you turn around and go, "Are we the baddies?" Yeah, you know. And I think as I've got older, I've come to question our motives, as in our motives being the UK, the USA, and most of the rest of the West. As are we the baddies? And a lot of times it looks like indications are yes, we are the baddies. But there you go. I'm just there was ads coming up, so I've said to skip them. I'm just going to skip the ads. So yeah, I mean, the swastika is a Hindu symbol. He did invert it, that's correct. And the black hole sun is another well-known symbol that was used before. Finland had swastikas in its Air Force until 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, 2019, that was a symbol in the Finnish Air Force. So it's been used for many, many years, right? And you see it in ancient buildings and things like that, you know, carved into them and stuff like that. So they went in search of something, the South Pole. Some may say it was like alien technology or something. I don't know, but yeah,
One of the things I find quite interesting, John, is the U-530 and the U-977 U-boats
yeah,
that were found in Argentina
yeah,
in 1945 at the end of the war,
yeah, yeah.
which is fairly close to Antarctica, isn't it?
Well, it is. But I'm pretty sure that Hitler lived out the last of his days in Argentina. I'm pretty sure. I mean, did you ever watch that Hunting Hitler thing?
I'd watched Hunters with Al Pacino. That was great.
No, you just watched Hunting Hitler. It was a
I will.
It was a kind of it's a kind of reality-based documentary thing, but it was actually quite good. And I mean, it was a bit dramatised and a bit Netflixy, but it's pretty good. And I'm pretty convinced that he made it to Argentina and lived out the last of his days there. I mean, you know, his brother lived out his days in Maine.
Did he?
William
Okay.
Hitler. That's true. That's true. Do you hear that? Yeah. Do you hear that, people? Yeah.
I do.
So yeah, he lived in Maine, and I've not wanted to do with him. I've disowned him. He's not my brother. So yeah. So anyway, the New Schwabenland thing, and some say that the Nazis had a base in New Schwabenland and an underground base, you know, with submarine access and all that. And they were forced to abandon it when they all, and this is the one that gets me, is they all got poisoned by bad polar bear meat. Right, well, hold on a minute. Whoa, just let's step back a bit. Because you don't get polar bears in the Antarctic. There's no large mammal. There's no mammals in the Antarctic. There's only penguins. They're not mammals, they're birds, right? And other than that, there's only seals, and they're in the water, right? There's no polar bears in Antarctica. So, how did they get poisoned by bad polar bear meat? Did they go and hunt polar bears in the North Pole and take them to the South? Oh, of course they would, because their flying saucer thing, their bell thing would just zip between the two poles like that, wouldn't it? I mean, we're now going down flights of fancy indeed, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that was New Schwabenland, and then you look at the John Carpenter movie, The Thing. That was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
It was.
And you could believe something like that happening.
Yeah, you could. Well, they regularly find new organisms, don't they, underneath the ice?
Well, they have, yeah. I mean, they've got they found things like spiders with bodies the size of dinner plates.
Yeah,
That's not a spider you want to come across. I mean, it's a sea spider, right? But even so, a body the size of a dinner plate. No, thank you. Ben would just melt, wouldn't he?
he would.
Yeah. So yeah, and strange translucent fish that you can see right through, that don't have any hemoglobin in their blood. So I'm not quite sure how they work, but they don't have hemoglobin. They're translucent. You can see right through them, and they have glycol in their bloodstream, so they don't freeze.
Yeah.
So, but they can't live in warm water, so they can only live in the cold water.
But fish are clever, aren't they? I mean, there are lots of different types of crazy fish that live in all sorts of environments. So, you know.
Yeah, I know. There was some really weird. I mean, there's weird things everywhere. And then Mount Erebus, the volcano. So the volcano, I think it's the most southerly active volcano, 3,800 meters high or something like that. But they found strange microbes and bacteria and things living at the vents and things because it's warm. So you get this pocket of life where there's some warmth. And I mean,
one thing I've just spotted, John.
What?
Operation Windmill, which was in 1947 to 48, was American, and they took 70,000 aerial photographs.
How many?
Why are none of those 70,000 photographs of Antarctica? Why are none of those photographs on Google Maps?
National security.
And they nuked it as well, didn't they?
They nuked what?
They nuked it. In August and September 1958, 3 nuclear explosions were detonated by the United States as part of Operation Argos over the South Atlantic, north of Antarctica to the southwest of South Africa. These were high-altitude bursts and might be expected at the time of the height of the Cold War, were shrouded in secrecy, though they were reported soon afterwards in 1961.
I didn't know that. That's new. That's, see, every day's a school day. I didn't know that one, because I thought they were trying to keep Antarctica pristine. I mean, I watched something else about Antarctica earlier today, and there was guys literally in like forensic suits, right? Because they were drilling into a lake. But I mean, oh my God, forensic suits in the middle of an ice field in the middle of Antarctica. And they're dressed up with masks and everything on, and it's like, oh my God, it's just like they take things too far. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little journey down south to the bottom of the world. I mean, we say that at the bottom, but there is no up or down, is there? Unless there is an up and down. Anyway, are we done?
I think we have covered pretty much everything and a bit extra as well.
Yeah, and a little bit extra. I think that's been enough. We've had a reasonable night and a little chat about Antarctica. I think it's been okay. The next rabbit hole, I don't know actually, because we forgot to do anything about it. And what I said to Ed was he could have a free choice since he's been a good boy and he's showing his face and things like that. So Ed's got free choice. It was his birthday weekend there, so he was away. I think he was away to Holland or something like that to visit his family. So I'm pretty sure you'll come up with something over the next couple of days and let me know, and then I will inform you, good people. I will inform you of what the next rabbit hole is, which will be a week on Thursday. There we go. It is nice to see Adam again. It is. Okay, anything else? Troll room?
I think we've covered everything. I think we have.
Yes.
There's lots more to talk about, but, that'll be another day.
Yeah, we'll talk about different things at different times. Yeah. Right, thank you very much, Adam. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And for you out there, thank you for attending this special episode as we went down to Antarctica with Adam. It's been great for you.
'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. 'Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. 'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. 'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, 'cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, 'cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up. shit my way, so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way, so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want